George Benham was some kind of god, some great scientist.
Mrs. Lennox, you were housekeeper for Mr. George Benham?
For 7
Dr. Wilkes, when you testified this morning, you said you examined Mrs. Benham's stomach contents.
As I said, I found nothing of any note. Only the remains of the food Mrs. Benham had eaten.
Nothing else?
No.
In other words, you found what you were looking for.
I beg your pardon?
What did you know about Mrs. Benham before you cut her open, Dr. Wilkes? Did you know how often she indulged in laudanum, for example? Dr. Wilkes.
I had been told she had a prescription from the family physician.
Did you test for it?
There would have been no point. It would have been entirely consistent with her medical history.
I suppose what I'm wondering, Dr. Wilkes, is how you would know that the quantities present were consistent with Mrs. Benham's medical history if you did not test.
My lord, I have tolerated a great deal during the course of these proceedings, but I cannot sit idly by while my sister-in-law continues to be slandered. Her private affairs, my brother's private affairs, picked over by vultures in this courtroom. Is there no concern for the dignity of the deceased?
You may rest assured I would allow no such thing, Lord Benham. You may wish to resume your seat.
Dr. Wilkes, I put it to you that you deliberately overlooked the presence of opium in Mrs. Benham's stomach contents.
Mr. Pettigrew, you've had quite some time on this path now. I suggest that you set yourself on another.
My lord, I believe I'm entitled to cross-examine this witness.
You cross-examined this witness this morning. Now you seem to be digging old ground.
My lord, I assure you this is new ground entirely. A witness has come forward. Dr. Farley. He was Dr. Wilkes' former assistant at St. Thomas's. It was Dr. Farley who performed both autopsies, not Dr. Wilkes.
It's absurd. Have you called this Dr. Farley?
My solicitor informs me that it has not been possible to locate him. He had assured us that he would attend court. I suspect he's understandably concerned about what might happen to him. According to my instructions, his employment was terminated at the behest of Lord Percival Benham.
Mr. Pettigrew.
No doubt in an attempt to discredit him.
Mr.
To
Pettigrew.
silence him, and it seems to have worked.
I am warning you not to stray into contempt of this court. If you cannot produce this doctor, then nothing he might have said may be relied upon, nor can you expect to cross-examine Dr. Wilkes about it.
You must be able to cross-examine about these matters.
You well know you may not.
It is a matter of grave importance. Dr. Farley concluded that Mrs. Benham died by opium poisoning, not by stabbing.
My lord.
Gentlemen, I instruct you to disregard everything that you have heard regarding the cause of death of either Mr. or Mrs. Benham, except Dr. Wilkes's evidence in chief given yesterday morning.
My lord.
I direct that no further reports be made of any of the evidence in respect of which I have now directed an embargo.